Hello, Carmen here, your myofunctional educator extraordinaire. And today I am here to talk about why it's important to do more of formal myofunctional therapy rather than just free stuff that's out there on the internet. I get asked a lot why somebody should have to pay for therapy when they can find free stuff out on the internet. And really, here's the basis of my answer, okay? Super easy. Do you like to be told the ingredients when you're making a recipe, or do you want to have the instructions also? So a lot of people will reach out and ask me if myofunctional therapy is effective if they do YouTube therapy or whatever they find out there. And to my knowledge, what is out there is what I call piecemeal. So you're going to find an exercise here or there. You can even visit my YouTube and you're going to find some stuff there. But what you're not going to find is that framework, that organized framework that is built after years of experience, hundreds of clients, that kind of stuff. So I think that's really, really important. And I get asked this question a lot, generally by people who are on a really, really tight budget. And I totally get it. But it is important to get the whole recipe versus just random stuff. If you find something out there, an exercise that they're showing you for free, you might be able to do that, but are you going to be doing it at the right time? Are you doing it correct? That's hard to say. So I think learning from a framework is super duper important. I always talk about when I do therapy with clients, it's not just willy-nilly. We're not just pulling exercises out of a hat. It's something that builds upon something else. So myofunctional therapy is building blocks. So like when I start teaching swallowing, it's one built on top of another. The muscles have to work independently before we ask them to all dance together. So knowing what to put where is very, very important. And I think that's the biggest benefit of doing formalized therapy, okay? So let's talk about what you should do if you find yourself in this position where you're like, hey, do I try and take the cheap, easy route and do whatever I can find out there? And I know there is so much more out there than what I have even encountered. For example, the other day I found a website of a doctor who's doing releases. She's not requiring myofunctional therapy, and she has some exercises on her website. The interesting thing is they're not necessarily the exercises that I have my clients do at that point. Now, a lot of us prepare for a frenectomy the same, or we use some of the same exercises, but even I have had doctors reach out to me and ask, they expect their clients to be able to do, say these 5 things. And I don't have my clients do those 5 things because they can't do all of them correctly. So if it's more of an advanced move, my clients are going to be doing it after their release, not in preparation for the release. So I hope that makes sense. But when you're considering what you should do, I always say, if you're an adult, take the time to do it right. If finances are a concern, save the money. If you're an adult, don't jump out of the frying pan into the flame. You've made it this long, you're going to be okay to go just a little bit longer. Kids obviously are a little bit different. But when somebody reaches out to me and they say, hey, I'm trying to get a plan, I'm trying to make sure I save for this ahead of time, do it like a layaway program. That way you can do it right, whether it's with me or anybody else. And you can make sure that you have that framework so that you don't have piecemeal therapy, so that you don't have just the ingredients. You want the whole recipe or the roadmap. I mean, if I gave you a whole list of all of the exercises that I teach, you wouldn't know where to put those. So that's what you're paying for when you work with an experienced therapist, is you're paying for their years of knowledge. You're paying for their years of expertise. They've been through the ringer. They've done this time and time again. So we know how to problem solve and we know what to put where. So save your money. Don't jump out of the frying pan into the flame. So don't take the cheap route. And another thing to consider, and of course I'm going to talk for myself, but you can always think about this if you're considering working with somebody else as far as myofunctional therapy. What other programs do they have? Because in my practice, I offer my therapy in a couple different ways because I work around the world and the dollar is different or the exchange rate is different. So I have a hybrid program, which is I teach, but they learn the videos with the exercises with videos. I have traditional one-on-one therapy, which is just like this, back and forth. I teach, they demonstrate. And then I also have 100% video-based therapy, which is my least favorite, but it also serves an underserved population around the world. When somebody's dollar just doesn't go that far, doing a full 12 sessions of therapy for under $600 is a whole lot different than not doing anything at all. So my point is, don't be afraid to ask your therapist, hey, do you have any other options? But the take-home message is, don't cut yourself short. Don't be cheap. I hope that helps explain why it's worth paying for legit guided therapy with an experienced therapist. And I will be back next week with another hot question. See you then.